Scholastic Audio presents Green Angel by Alice Hoffman. Read by Nora Hunter. Green, my mother said to me that day, moments before they left for the city. We're leaving you behind because you're the one who's needed most of all. Now that she was standing next to me, I was surprised to find that I was almost as tall as my mother. I felt my love for her in the back of my throat, like a stone, heavy, making it impossible for me to speak. I was almost a woman myself, too old to admit I was wrong, or so I thought then. Too old to race after my mother when she turned to leave. I had too much pride to say goodbye. I kept my nose in the air and my back to them. I was green, moody and prideful and angry. I will forever remember that I turned away. We had so many birds in the trees back then, and each one sang to me while I did my work. I weeded for hours, until my hands ached. 3 blue jay feathers drifted down to me. I kept them in my pocket as a gift for my mother, if I decided to forgive her. The day was perfect, cloudless and blue. Still, I continued to feel sorry for myself. At noon, I decided to take my lunch up to the hillside that overlooked the city. I let my sister's dog, Onion, trail after me, even though he was an annoying beggar who sometimes growled when he saw me. Today, Onion tolerated me because my sister wasn't there, but I knew I was just a substitute for Aurora. It was so warm that I was tired by the time I reached the top of the hill. I can remember the way it felt to breathe in the hot, still air, the stitch in my side, the river in the distance, flat as a mirror, the brambles that had caught in my long black hair, the blue jay's feathers in my pocket, the chattering of a wood thrush overhead, the dog whining softly, the pulse in my throat at the last moment of the world as it was. People who were close by said they could see people jumping from the buildings, like silver birds, like bright diamonds. The ground shook, people said, but from where I stood, all I could see was smoke. I could hear the whoosh of the fire all these miles away, across the river, past the woods. I could hear it as if it were happening inside my own head. I ran down the hill so fast, my clothes were torn to shreds on the brambles. My heart was in my mouth. I thought of my mother, measuring out green beans on a scale with her gentle hands. I thought of my father, who could whistle so many tunes with such sweetness, every variety of bird in our garden would answer. I thought of my sister, whose hair was white as snow, the wild girl who never stopped to listen, always the opposite of me. My sister, who was as familiar as the moon up above, changeable, yes, but always there for me to depend upon. Ashes had swept across the river in black whirlwinds. I ran to escape them, through the yard, into the house. But there was no escape. Embers flew in through the open windows and set the ends of my hair on fire. I wrapped a wet towel around my head. Steam rose in billows from beneath the towel, and I smelled like smoke. But worst of all, the embers had flown into my eyes. My eyes burned so badly, I grew dizzy with the pain. My sister's little dog had followed me home. He knew something was wrong, and now he barked at the sky, the world, the open door, which I ran to slam shut as I tried to stop the flow of embers. I fastened the bolt, then held my hands over my ears. I didn't want to hear the roar of the fire, so far away across the river. I wanted silence, peace, blue skies. Yesterday. But no matter what, I could hear it still. No matter what, it was burning. I crawled under the dining room table, smelling like smoke and half blinded by cinders. Little bits of hot embers flew under the door. Onion followed and lay shivering in my lap. I was Green, who was too shy to speak. Green, too angry to say goodbye. Green, who was always waiting for the future, biding her time. Now the future was here, and the Silver City across the river was on fire, and I was hiding under the table, where I stayed until darkness fell. After a while, I couldn't hear the fire anymore. The dog whimpered, but I hushed him. I could barely see, but my ears were good. I was the one who could hear the wisteria unfolding. I could hear the sweet peas climbing the fence, the asparagus rising through the soil. Now, I was listening harder than ever. I was waiting for my family to come home. All they had to do was run from the fire. All they needed was to cross the river, swim if they must, crawl if need be, find their way home in the dark, in the whirlwinds, in the burning embers. Surely they would appear if only I waited long enough. I was patient Green, after all. Green, who knew how to listen. They were in the city for only a single day. Luck couldn't be as bad as that, could it? Was that the way the future worked? Unknowable, unchangeable, always uncertain. They might have gone to the city the day before, or the day after. They might have been stopped by the rising of the drawbridge, by a bee sting, by a sudden storm. They might have not gone at all. But they were there when it happened, and I was not.